who live here can live in harmony with the bush, and they can walk through the bush without feeling any fear. A lot of people get alarmed at me getting out of the vehicle and going tracking and things, and it might seem that I brush it off and I make it look as though it's a frivolity, but it's more than that. It's actually just a way of life. They're people. We live here. This is our life. We live in the bush. And when you're going from A to B, it doesn't matter really where it is, but you're aware of what there could be, and you're aware of sounds and signals, but you also don't walk in a way that makes you a target. Peggy, that's Peggy, that just crossed the road. She's going from the River Lodge probably back to our camp. She's one of the people that are employed here, and she helps out wherever she does. Sometimes we see her collecting firewood for the local communities outside. Sometimes she's helping Ivy back at FC. She's just one of the local that's become part of the team almost. But, okay, welcome to our drive, and time to go and see what we can find here in Thornybush Private Nature Reserve. I don't know if any of you remember, but we stopped here a few days, could be a couple of weeks ago, to see a crassula that is flowering through this acacia. And it was actually hard to see, but now that times have changed, it's even more vivid now. The flowers of a really strange combination of factors that have allowed this flower to be higher than any flower I've ever seen in my life. And this is, you can quote me on this one, is that I've never seen those flowers reach so high, and the only way they have is they've grown in through the branches of this acacia, and that's given it the support that it's needed. But it's also being compelled to find light, because it needs a free space around the flower to bring the insects that it needs to fertilize it. So the very fact that it was growing in the acacia meant that it had to grow out through it, and that's what made it so big. But a wonderful combination of factors that create the perfect specimen. Not to mention these giant quarries just behind it. Aaron on camera, David back in FC. My name is Mark. This is Wild Earth. This is Thornybush Private Nature Reserve. And well, as interesting as flowers can be, that is one of them. But we're on a quest that I've decided. I made a decision. We're going to go back to that area where the lion killed the zebra. And we're going to have a look at what is left there after having seen a kill a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, kind of about a month ago, I think it was around about last month. Oh, I have no concept of time, but someone can remind me when Becky found those 2 male lions on the zebra kill in a misty morning. Well, I thought we'd just take a drive down this road and eventually end up there and see if we could find any bones, any pieces of that zebra, and have a look at what it looks like to have a glimpse at the aftermath of a kill about, what, a month later? I don't know. You remember dates, Sarah? Well, the date where, I don't know if you remember that time frame that we had those lion on the zebra kill. No, well, Becky was still here. Because Becky found it. Becky always seemed to find the young male lion. Like they had this mutual attraction. One of the most beautiful of aloes, known as Aloe marloffii, and look, there are even a couple of leaves that are vegetables. Excuse me, I want to look at something. Sadly, the tree. Ow! There's a lot of thorns around here. Cases, aloes. Sadly, the tree itself is dead. There's still a couple of leaves that can survive on their own because of the photosynthesis process that they are able to do, just being an aloe. But the rest of the plant is dead, so although it's still living tissue, it's doomed. It can't be supplied by new nutrients, and it is merely living with sunlight and moisture coming from precipitation. But the last few, look, actually there's another one there. That pinnacle of an aloe that must be 100 years old or more, with its crown broken off. I can go forward even. You know, we as humans are so naive to think that the medicinal properties that we've discovered in aloes is our discovery, but actually, you know what? Nature's been dealing with aloes for millions of years, and animals and birds and everything have been using aloes for their own medicinal uses or benefits, and sadly elephants need them. And with such a small population of them, the elephants have already nailed them. There's something in aloes that elephants need, and that's why there aren't any anymore. And it's got nothing to do with really the restrictions being in Thornybush with a physical boundary around the entire game reserve. It's got nothing really to do with that. It's got to do with just changes in the environment. It's just changes in, well, yeah, I guess part of it is that sense of boundaries. Leaves or anything. That's amazing. So this is where those lion had that zebra kill. And what I've come here to do is to try and find some remnants or some pieces or something from that kill. I can see some vulture down feathers. Caught in the tree over there. I don't know, I think the carcass ended up somewhere in here. I would really like to find that skull to show you. June 27th, so okay. Almost a lunar month away. Or rather, over a lunar month. June 20th. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, whoever that was. Almost a month ago. I'd like to find some remnants. I'd like to show you what maybe remains. We'll be able to have a look. Thanks, Vivian and Ellen, who sent that in. Aha. Boy, sometimes I'm good. Sometimes I'm good. Okay. Sun is completely wrong, so I need to turn around and no, what if I'm here? No, I need to turn because I'd really like to do all of this. This is that. It's not going to work at all. So all I can do is deal with what I got. It was a morning, I think, what was it? The 27th of June. Taking my earpiece out so I can't hear a thing. The morning. No, it's not going to work. 27th of June. Becky and I were trying to find these lion. I'd heard them during the night, and we came up here and we were driving along the fence line because we were following the tracks. Becky said, there, and it was almost within minutes of them catching the zebra. And we had a really incredible morning with these two male lions eating the zebra in the mist and the steam coming out of the carcass. It was graphic, and it was a little bit hard for some people, but it was very, very captivating. It was, for us, it was wildlife filmmaking dream to be able to capture these two males, totally unrelated, getting along, sitting on the same carcass. It was a very, very special thing. So I came back here now, and what I want to do is actually just find pieces of this kill, and I've actually managed to do that. That's quite remarkable with the sea. But this is where the carcass ended up. Ow! Standing on thorns. And here's the skull. Ow! Okay, sorry, wait. There's just a young acacia here at my feet that is preventing me from standing anywhere near it. But this is a very, very interesting feature that I have found. Does it work to do that, despite all the driver ants on it? Is it too close? So I go down. And go here. There. I've got to walk very, very carefully in these grasses. On top of the GoPro. It's still smelly and it's still got bits of meat and everything on it. But it's a very, very important find. It's a very, very interesting thing to look at, because I've always believed and I've always known that sometimes the stallion will let the mares get away to ensure that his seed survives, to ensure that the foal survives, and he will separate from the mares during a hunt, and he will draw the attention of the cats after him. And this might be proof of that. This might be that very, very thing that I talk about sometimes. This is a stallion. This was a big stallion, and he's not the stallion of the herd that lives around us. He's not the stallion of that little group that we very often see with the wildebeest and stuff. This is a stallion that Becky and I have seen when we were looking for elephants. In fact, I think even Brian and I, when we were looking for elephants in this area one day, we saw the stallion, and I even remarked about this zebra that was living in this very dense bush on his own. There are a lot of ants on it, but the reason why I know that it's a male and that it's a stallion and that he was big and he was old, and I hope there are any of you that there might be some of you that are equestrian people. Look at the tooth wear on his incisors. But the most important thing about him being a stallion are these two teeth over here. His canine, his wolf teeth, his weapons, and sadly this old dude didn't have really much of a weapon left. He was an old man. He didn't have a family anymore. He had been pushed out probably from whatever family he owned, and he was an old stallion that was actually doomed to be lion food based on the wear on not only his canines but also here on his incisors. You can see, I mean, it's almost like a quarter of an inch or more. If you look at, I don't know, can you see that tooth, that little ridge of that tooth? Yep. You can see how it's worn down there, but obviously his upper jaw missed this little top part, but that's how much tooth wear there has been throughout his lifetime. So, a stallion that echoes. And he was a proud zebra once. Oh, on the acacia again. Oh, the other thing I didn't show you was his pelvic girdle and the base of his spine. That's actually lying there in the shade. But I'm guessing that maybe you've had enough of an anatomy lesson today. I need to put the nose a little more forward. I know we can't really see him anyway, but are they? Paniola. I think it's a bit early. This is the first giraffe you met, David. David, here on camera. David, back in SE. We had him at Albeda Pan. But he's been around a lot. I've startled him twice along the river, and for the change I've actually managed to see him before I came out around the corner. Really tatty ear there, that left ear. Big scar across his nose. Scars on his chest and above his shoulders. Barely a maning. Yeah, that's your Scarface, David. Your buddy, your first giraffe when you arrived. Dude that you met. I don't think we can call him Al Pacino. Oh, I think I'll walk this way then. They're not flashing together, does that matter?
But it's going 1, 1.
Yes. I can't. The gravity engine get me over that little bump. No, don't go. Don't. Don't go. Don't go. So I have to. Oh, it would be nice if we could just use an electric drive or something and not. Sorry, Willie. David, I don't have my earpiece in, so I can't hear you if you're saying anything, but I'll get it back there in a second. I just have to do this first. Still going to work to see him though. Oh, okay. Done. $73.74.
Oh, they're on video settings. And you see like a video camera, or do you see a camera?
No, it's on camera.
That might be changed. Go check it.
I don't know. I'm just a presenter, I don't know. You have no idea. All this time that we've had the camera on the back of the vehicle, you should see what it looks like when the camera's on the front. And we're driving through roads like this with the lights behind us. And I just go slowly, because we can speed it up any way we want in the editing suite. But for a true experience of what it's like to drive through the bush, forget about having the camera at the back. You must know what it's how. I had a look at it the other day. Just a little bit of stuff we did when Erin and I were last together on an afternoon drive. Yeah, and we taped that GoPro there. Of course, we've got to come across animals to really appreciate it. But maybe that'll happen. We'll have a look. And I think at that point I need to see, unfortunately at the moment it's manually operated.
That smirk. Yo.
So where are we? Is it the right beep? I don't know. But now half of them have moved off. They've all moved off. Oh, come on, you just stop jerking. Really? Oh, look, all of them are going to come now. They're all going to run across the road now. It can be such a pain when I need you to behave. Okay, rest of you can come across now. Too far ahead. Stairs. Yeah, he's a little boy. Panic. Really? You have to panic? There's restless behind us. So we could rig something up that I could push that button from my feet if I did a little bit of a lever action over the bull bar. We'd figure it out. That'd probably be easier to do in electronic version. You just have to press a button. Well, so some Impala and the wind that's rather inconsistent at the moment. Sorry, sometimes I see sculptures in wood that nature has created, and I'm compelled to take a snapshot. Anyway, just make an album one day of these strange horse-like, giraffe-like, gargoyle-like faces from just nature sculptures, wind erosion, and through the buffalo, wind and rain and insects and decay, and how wood ends up the way it does. What? Throw your head like that? Yeah. That's my black hat. But you see what I did when I gave him my head? Shook my head like he did. Oh, look at this one coming. Oh, missed that pose. This is the biggest problem with digital cameras, is that it takes time for the electronics to do their thing. Hello, Mr. Buffalo. He's actually challenging me. Needs a dose of duct tape. go forward a bit. Incredible posture from a buffalo, actually. I guess it's been a bit of a buffalo day today. Yeah, I'm talking about you, buffalo. Jordan. That is one of the biggest buffaloes. I think we finally got to him, pointing the camera at him, and oh, he's coming back. He wants to charge. He's back a little bit. He's a frisky old bull. Oh, it's throwing his horns at us. But now I'm going to get a good view of it. What? Oh no, him. He'll move. Oh no, there's not much we can do about it. But he's the one that's displaying to us, so I want to just keep. I guess it's time to move on anyway. Yeah, let's move on. How is this possible? These are too big for your boots, old bull. Look at him. Look at his posture just through there. He's like, you don't want to mess with him, right? don't want to mess with that door. So, Torah, Charlotte, North Carolina. Torah is asking about those pale patches on the buffalo. Is it due to rubbing or is it genetics? And the former yes, the latter no. It is due to rubbing. They become bald patches from having itches in the same place over the course of 20 to 30 years. They rub it so much that they get these calluses. It's not so much that they've lost the hair there, but it's more a case of that there are calluses that develop on their skin from rubbing it constantly. And I guess it's sort of a self-deprecating thing that the more they develop these calluses, the more creases and wrinkles there are for ticks to hide themselves, cause them itches, and make them rub even more. So depending on how parasites have affected an individual, or infected or affected or infested an individual, that'll depend on where it's rubbed the most in its lifetime, and somehow because it rubbed there the most, that's where parasites and irritation occurs. It's the same as with us human beings. I'm a culprit myself. There's some of us human beings that scratch a lot, and there's some that don't. It's like there's some that bite their nails, and there's some that don't. Subconscious, physical, never mind. Yes, they develop these callous bits, they develop these areas of their body where it becomes bald, and then even they get these thicker, no better word than calluses that develop. Piece of grass might be in the way, but yeah, if they're talking, they run away. I just had some ash fall on me. You can see smoke down there in the south from a fire. Very, 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 very far away. Nothing to be concerned about. But there are little bits of little fire. Patty in New York. Another Patty in New York. I'm curious. Patty in New York. Is it Patty in New York who previously was in New Jersey, or is it a different Patty in New York who had lived in New Jersey? But thank you, Patty. It's very nice of you to say so. me on my hat. How I look in my hat. Well, much obliged, ma'am. Much obliged. I know that somebody knows where this head comes from. Somewhere here where that giant eagle owl lives. But the trees on the river are too far away to see it. It does live down there, but we've seen it on top of the trees. So, just on another note, a sour note, like lemon juice, vinegar, and battery acid. What's a sour note? I want to talk about tomorrow is Wednesday, and tomorrow, being Wednesday, is going to be the day that will be a week left to drive, or it could even be today. But it is something I have to prepare you for. It is something that I have to just mention. I feel I need to, and that by next week Wednesday we're going to be out of here. So. And I'm going to try my best. These last few drives, I'm going to try my best. We're going to try our best to do what we can to bring you some amazing stuff. But we're going to not be broadcasting from next week. And you all just have to watch the space. What we do here at Wild Earth. I hope that there's a family of Nyala down the bottom. Oh look, there is. I hope it comes true. I was saying I hope there's a family of Nyala, and look, there's a family of Nyala. Now, if we could just use gravity drive to sneak closer to them. 350 miles. We are the fire brigade. The guides, the staff of the lodges, we are the fire brigade. There ain't no fire brigade. There are no aeroplanes that come and douse flames with buckets of water. There are no fire engines that come with hoses. There's no smoke jumpers and... this is Africa. Never mind, it's small to handle fire engines. The roads are too small to handle or be fire break. That's why fires are such a problem in Africa, because there's no fire. There are no fire brigades and fire. They don't stay. In fact, Hoodspray, the little town that's my little hometown, has had a fire station for the last probably about 5 or 6 years. But up until now has been a brothel. Yes. They haven't had a fire engine or a firefighting crew. The fire station that was built, Kudu up there, he says, changing the subject. The fire station that was built remained dormant for God knows how long. Especially last year's flood changed everything. And it was used at night by truckers late at night. The big ore carrier trucks that barrel through Hoodspray every day. Now there's a Nyala crossing the road. First there was a Kudu, now there's a Nyala. No, that's baby Kudu. It's not a Nyala. It's a new baby Kudu. See, I can live here all my life and I still can't tell the difference. And there's a Nyala. It's in Nyala. There was a Kudu, I promise. There was a Kudu. I'll show to you. Just here where these Nyala are crossing. It has to be. Come on, Kudu, where you to redeem myself. There's a Kudu here somewhere. Maybe just in front of these woods. In front of these Nyala family. There's a Kudu. And there goes an Impala. There goes an Impala. But there was a Kudu, I promise. I saw it. I was looking at it. It was there. It was a Kudu. Yeah, it was there. But now it is gone. Good night, Impala and Nyala. Maybe I'll still find it too. Maybe she went down this road. So yeah, as far as firefighter, the lodges, the guides, in all my lifetime of being a guide, I've had to fight several fires that come into that have threatened the Sabi Sand or places I've been in East Africa, and it's frightening. But no, there are no teams of firefighters, there are no equipment, or other fire engines or equipment or things. We are it. And there's actually quite a heavy fire load right now. Fuel load rather, not fire load, fuel load. After a couple of seasons of really good rain. But I think the one thing in our favour is that a lot of it is still green. The base of all of these grasses that we see now around us, it's all still green. That's really unusual that there's so much greenery still there. That I've even found green marula fruits on the trees in July. It's one thing to find them in June, but in May. But to find them now still green fruits in July. What about this marula we just come across? But gravity drives got stuck. But you can see a lot of smoke in the sky to the southeast. There have been some big fires somewhere today. And sometimes these fires can rage for days, weeks. There's very little to stop them. So never mind that these roads are not big enough for fire engines, they're not big enough for fire breaks. Sometimes when a wind blows, we just blow that fire straight across this road as though it didn't even exist. But by the same token, we can still come to these roads. If we've got a fire coming, let's say for example, we are now facing southeast. And unfortunately this is where the wind comes from, so this is the way of fire. This is hypothetically. The wind is blowing from left to right, and there's a fire coming from the left to the east, and there's a fire blowing this way. We could come to a road like this, and we could run along this road with torches, burning torches, and ignite this entire stretch of road on the left hand side, back towards the flame that put the fire out. So one of the best ways to fight fire in this part of the world without the likes of fancy fire teams that you get in other parts of the world, in Europe and North America and maybe Australia, Japan, other parts of the world. Burn back towards the fire. Hopefully by the time you start a fire, this burns back in fire break. Well, that happened before. It's very easy for fires to jump. Seems like our radio is interfering with our signals, so it's one of those times when the weirdest stuff is happening. So I'm going to say goodbye. We'll see you in the morning, Wednesday morning tomorrow, and we'll see what we can find tomorrow. So it's been a bit of a quiet afternoon, as it does seem to be sometimes. But been interesting. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being part of Wild Earth and our Thornybush drive. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye bye everybody.